Hey, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to replace the battery in our family's Chrysler Pacifica minivan. And there are actually two batteries. I replaced the auxiliary battery a few months ago, and I'm going to do the main battery today. If you want to check out the video for the auxiliary battery, I'll put a card up here in the corner somewhere. There's a few things that overlap, so you might want to watch both videos. I would say that it's going to be easier to replace the auxiliary battery if you take the main battery out anyway, so you might want to stick around, check out the steps for removing the main battery before you get to the auxiliary battery. So stick around, we're going to get into it right away. Thanks. Okay. So my wife drives this van most of the time, and a couple months ago, she noticed a couple times she tried to start the van and it didn't want to start. I'd have to jump start it. And we suspected the auxiliary battery because we'd been having some issues with the start-stop feature, and we knew that the auxiliary battery controls that feature. So I replaced it, and everything was good for a couple months, and then 3 or 4 months, I think, later, she started having problems again, and it didn't want to start occasionally if it sat for too long. So I decided it was just time to change the main battery as well. If you can, I'd recommend changing both of them at the same time, just because it's easier to do that way. It is really easier to get the auxiliary battery out if the main battery is out as well. So all total, though, it's going to end up costing probably over $300 to change both at the same time, which is why I decided to do them separately. So it's your call either way. The auxiliary battery, I think, is around $120, and then the main battery is anywhere from $220 to $260, depending on where you get it. So let's get into it. So the first thing I did with this main battery before I took it out was I checked it with a multimeter to see what its voltage was. And I'm not going to get into the specifics of the multimeter that I use. There's a lot of instructional videos out there on how to use a multimeter to check a battery. But basically, I just set it for voltage and set it at a level that would measure 12 volts or more. And when I did measure it, it was less than 12 volts, which is a good indication that the battery is not good, because the van had only been sitting for a while and the charging system had been running prior to that. So it had less than 12 volts. If you really want to know for sure on a battery if it's right around 12 volts and you're not sure if it's good or not, you can get a battery tester that will put a load on the battery, and that's the best way. Is it replicates starting the vehicle, and if the voltage drops really low when you're trying to start the vehicle, then you know that the battery's probably not good anymore. In this case, the battery was 5 years old and about due to be replaced anyway, so I just decided to replace it. Now, this job is relatively easy and just requires minimal tools. I think all you need is a 10mm socket and either a ratchet or an impact. I think I used a ratchet for most of this job. So it's on a scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 1 or a 2 in terms of difficulty. When you get started, the first thing you need to do in order to gain access to the battery is to remove the ductwork that goes to the air intake system. It comes from up in front of the radiator and connects into the intake box. So all you have to do to get that out is up near the radiator, near the front of the vehicle, you put your hands underneath the intake duct and pull up. It might take a little bit of force, and then you tilt it further up and pull towards you to get it out of the intake box. The next step is going to be to disconnect the negative battery cable, and you do that by just loosening the nut with a 10mm socket and pulling the cable off and pushing it to the side so it's out of the way. Next, for the positive battery cable or terminal, you'll notice that there's actually a whole harness on top of the positive terminal, and you're going to have to loosen that and then pull it off to free up the battery. So first you have to open the cap on the cover for this harness, and once you do that, you can see there's a lot of connections there. There is a nut you can loosen right over the positive battery terminal. You don't have to take that all the way off, you just need to loosen it. The reason I say you don't need to fully remove the nut that's on top of the positive battery terminal on the auxiliary harness is because there are some metal pieces that act as spacers under there, and if you have the nut off of that post there, when you pull the harness loose from the battery terminal, those spacer pieces could fly out and get lost in your engine compartment. Ask me how I know that. Now, if you find you do need to remove that nut completely, which I did remove it completely, just make sure you cover the post and those spacers to try and keep things contained a little bit, because it took me forever to find this little piece that flew down into my engine compartment. Now, right here is where I'd recommend taking a picture of the connections on this harness so you have a reference for later, because this harness controls your auto start stop feature and a few other features in the vehicle, I think, as well. Maybe something like heated seats and the backup camera. So you need to make sure that you get everything plugged back in the right way when you're done. And you will need to pull some nuts off and remove a couple of cables from post on this harness as well. I think those go directly to the auxiliary battery. So once you get those pulled off, you can get a screwdriver or another flat metal object to use that to help you disconnect the other 3 connectors on this harness. One should be white, one's a reddish color, and one is black. And then just push those connectors and those cables out of the way, and you should be ready. Once you pull the harness off the top of the battery, you should be ready to pull the battery out. Hey, I appreciate you watching this video today. If you like what you see here, if it's helpful to you, I really appreciate it if you click the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, car repairs and reviews of automotive and garage and just products that car guys might buy, stick around, look around the channel at some other videos. If you want to see new videos when they come out, go ahead and click subscribe and then click the bell to get notifications as well. So once you've got the auxiliary harness pulled off the battery and out of the way, you'll need to use a 10mm socket and probably an extension to loosen the bracket that holds the battery in the battery tray. And you can see that it's near the front of the vehicle, and it's a good 8 to 10 inches down from where you're going to be able to reach it. So you will need an extension to get that, unless you've got really small hands and a small ratchet. And then once that's loose, you can pull the battery out using the handles. It is heavy, so be careful. So when you're ready to put the new battery in, the first thing you want to do is make sure that the battery tray is clear, and you probably want to go ahead and remove the bracket that holds the battery in completely. It's probably got a pretty long screw on it, so you'll have to, so it might take a minute to get it out, but the battery will go in a lot easier if you completely remove that. Once the battery's in, you want to put that bracket back in place and tighten it down. Then you can reconnect the color-coded connectors on the harness that goes on top of the battery. Reconnect the cables that connect with that go on post and connect with nuts, and then you can push firmly on top of that that harness to get it back seated back on top of the positive battery terminal. Once that's done, you can tighten the nut down, and you should be good to go there. Then close the cover, obviously. Then you can put the negative battery cable back on the terminal and tighten that down as well. Then you should be good to replace the air intake duct and put that in reverse of pulling it out. You slide it into the air box first, then align it with the proper holes where it needs to go and just push down firmly, and it should lock into place. And then if you want to test your new battery with a multimeter before you get the vehicle started, you can. Mine's measuring here at a little bit over 12 volts, which it should. It should definitely be over 12 volts. And then as you can see here, once I start it and the charging system is going, it's charging it at 14 volts or something like that. So we should be good to go. Well, that about does it for today's video. I actually put this battery in a couple months ago, and everything's working perfectly. The start-stop feature works, unfortunately. I've been checking out ways to disable that permanently, and I'm pretty close to doing that, I think. And haven't had any problems with the battery since. So once again, if you liked this video, if it helped you out, I really appreciate you clicking the like button and subscribing to the channel to see more stuff. Thanks again for stopping by. Have a good day.